Welcome, everyone, to Gemcast Live. In today's episode, Soulfire is going to be reading from Magnificent Mike's story, a story that has been getting some very positive reviews that I'm aware of, and so I'm very exciting to hear this in British accent, no less. So, without further ado, here is Soulfire reading Magnificent Mike's story, after which we will have a Q&A.
Right, I'll jump right in then. Called Blood, The Last Yokai. Chapter 1, The Huntress. Neo-Tokyo, 2020, 2000, how do you say date? 2020-47.
Yeah, there we go.
5 bodies in 6 days. Kiko kicked the apartment door open. Cheap composite, not real wood. Nothing in Neo-Tokyo was real anymore. And knew immediately she was too late for number 6. The smell hit her first. Something iron beneath the cheaper scent of spilled wine. Then the visual. A woman on the floor, still in her ramen shop uniform, wine bottle on its side, red pooling across the white tile. But wine didn't pool like that. Wine didn't go black at the edges. She swept the room, energy katana alive in her hand. The blade hummed its familiar frequency. Pitch she felt in her wrist and upper arm to her elbow. The weapon she'd carried for decades, hunting. Yellow light in the shadows. Bass thumped through the walls from the club next door. Someone laughed, high and bright, on the other side of the wall. Kiko looked at the woman's face and then looked away. The apartment was empty, just Kiko and the corpse. The target was gone, probably watching from some rooftop. Kiko raced through the traffic like she could save this one, like she ever saved any of them. The woman's skin had gone pale, mouth open, eyes wide and filmed over. Something black overflowed the corner of her lip. Thick, wrong. Not blood. Kiko had seen enough blood to know blood. This had the color of it, but not the weight. It sat on the skin instead of soaking in, as though the body had expelled it, pushed it out, refused it. An hour old, an hour too late. Damn shame, Shin said through the drink. 6 this week. Government calls them acceptable losses. Kiko didn't answer. Government officials didn't live in neighborhoods where yokai hunted. The losses were always acceptable when they happened to someone else. She sheathed the energy katana and knelt. She studied the woman's face, the substance flowing from her lips, the expression, not pain exactly, something else, like a door closing. Kiko pulled the woman's face through the optical implant. Let the city's registry do what it always did, reduce a person to a file. Himiko Aito, 25, Nippon Ramen, 2 blocks east, no family on record. No family on record. She looked at the apartment again, trying to find something that contradicted. Photograph, plant, anything that meant someone had been expected, had a key, would note it. Nothing. Kiko closed her eyes. She had wondered if she'd ever walk by her, never knowing. Served noodles to a salaryman who never looked at her face. Went home alone to this apartment. Died alone on this floor. Kagami had chosen her, seen her, wanted something from her, more than any other person Ramen had. That was the obscene part. That at the end, the only one who had looked at her really looked the way you look at something you want, thing killed her. Kiko thought about the last time anyone had looked at her like that. She couldn't remember. She'd made sure of it. Get a sample of that, he said. She pulled on a glove and produced a vial, collected the substance. He became careful. When she sealed it and stood, something moved her finger, not pain, a coldness that wasn't temperature. She pulled the glove off and her hand. Himiko Ito remained in her neon-drenched apartment alone. Outside, hovercar drifted past the window. Neon advertisements strobing across the glass. The city continued indifferent. She called it in, said. Some anonymous pattern. Police are 6 minutes out. 6 minutes out. She's watching Kiko. It has to be. 7 minutes. Pulse steady. 12 flights down, hand on the rail. Sirens growing louder with on the 8th, door open. A man in a ramen shop uniform. Thermos in hand, heading to work. He didn't look at her. She hit the ground level as boots thundered through the front entrance, moved through the service entrance at a walk, and let the crowd swallow her. Close? Shin muttered. She adjusted her hood. Tens of millions of people in Tokyo. She was just another face. The yokai was counting on that. So was she. Before I continue, I remembered we were going to share the screen. Who wants to read along? 12 blocks. The city chain. Less glass, more grime. Neon gave way to bare bulbs and plastic windows. The air smelled of dried synth, burnt garbage. Shin stood behind his hover car in an alley, arms crossed, 50-something, lean, beard trimmed sharp, hair knotted back, neural ports at his temple, a Colt 1911 on his hip, old school steel and a city of high-tech weapons. Everything pressed despite the setting. He straightened when he saw her. Too close. She tossed him the vial. He caught it in one hand, held it up to the light. The substance clung to the glass, barely shifting. The hell is this? He muttered. She pulled out a cigarette. Real tobacco, black market. Cost her half a day's non-existent pay. Lit it with the plasma lighter she'd taken off a dead yokai 7 years back. The smoke hit her lung, harsh and real. Overhead, a drone drifted past, trailing an advertisement for Clear Lung. A 30-day bioscrub. Breathe like you're 20. She held it there longer than she. Shin sighed. Vial. You had 12 blocks. That's going to kill you. She looked at him, sailed, took another drag. Yeah, fair point. Tapped it. Hour, maybe more. Equipment's not going to like. Why? Because I don't know what I'm looking at. Without embarrassment, which means the equipment won't either. The commission had clean rooms, instant analysis. Specialists didn't ask where the funding. Now there was Shin, a centrifuge that looked like it had Parkinson's, an hour wait while the yokai hunted. She smoked. He paced. She didn't. Would you finish that before someone decides to stab us with a car? She ignored him, smoking. He stopped pacing, waited. She didn't move. Safe house, finally, door open. Coming or not? Kiko looked at him. Another slow drag, then dropped and walked to the car. They drove through downtown in silence. Kiko watched the city stroll past. We'll get her, she said. Gami. 3 years of that. Holographic woman smiled down from a tower, 40 meters tall, offering something called eternal skin. Look younger, live younger, be more. Kiko watched the cycle through the pitch, thought about her face up that same quality of attention, that same certainty, something worth offering. Kiko stood by the window while she set up. The safe house sat in a condemned building, 4th floor, windows covered in blackout film, flickering lights, humming equipment, and the smell of stale air and old takeout. Cramped space, jerry-rigged tech, and mattress in the corner that she never used. Shin placed the vial in the center. Give it an hour. She watched the corporate towers pulse with light. One of them, Kurosawa Bio. She could see the logo from here, burning white smog. 162 floors, 3-sequence DNA and immortality. Between here and there, 25 kilometers of darkness. The neighborhoods where people like Himita worked and went home and were found on their floors. Some weren't all that light, yokai hunted. Get some rest. You've been going for 18 hours. She moved to the mattress, lay down. Suko Sato's apartment, door open when Kiko arrived. She'd known before she reached it, that heaviness, wrongness in the air. The girl was 14, school uniform still on, homework on the table. She'd been studying. Probably thought she was safe in her own home. Kagami was crouched beside her when Kiko opened the door. Not feeding, tearing, crouched close, one hand on Suko's jaw, tilting her face gently, carefully. The way you handle something waiting a long time to find. Asuka was rigid, eyes blown wide, iris gone, something luminous underneath where brown had. She was breathing in short, shallow pulls, not fighting. Too frightened to fight, and Kagami's other hand was flat to the girl's sternum. There was something moving in the skin, something that had no. A light. Their eyes met. Kagami looked up, bone-white skin, koi scales tattooed down both arms, traditional Arizumi black ink on canvas. Her expression wasn't interrupted hunger. It was something close to concentration. A surge in disturbed mid-procedure. She smiled, too wide, too many. The energy katana was already in yellow edge, cutting the dim apartment light. She moved. Kagami moved faster. Their blades met with a sound like a bell cracking. The impact shivered up Kiko's arm. Second strike, Kagami parried. Past. The tip of her blade, ancient steel, hissed Kiko's shoulder. Burned with that. Third exchange. Faint low, strike high. Kagami flowed backwards like water. Smile never faltered. Then the tanto. A flash of movement. Kiko twisting, the blade driving into the wall behind her shoulder, and she pulled free and turned it. Kagami took it above the knee. Smile finally faded. The window was behind the Yokai, 4 stories up. Kiko pressed the attack. Kagami turned, drove through the glass, no hesitation, gone. Kiko reached the window in time to see her land in the alley below. 4-story drop, would have broken a human. She landed in a crouch, glass glittering on her white skin. Looked up, met Kiko's eyes 40 feet below, removed the tent, vanished in the maze of alley. Behind Kiko, apartment, Suka was convulsing, her eyes normal now, 14 years old, school uniform, homework on the table. Kiko did what she could. Kiko, her eyes shot open, hand to pommel body, crouched before foot away. Easy now. Step. Results are back. She released the pommel, stood. Shin's portable screen showed data, organic compounds, yes. Trace material consistent with biological origin. But the molecular structure on the left panel were flagged in red, and the notation beside them read, no known analog. She looked at it. It's not blood. He set the glasses down and set back on. I ran it 3 times. The 3rd time the centrifuge stopped mid-cycle. Just stopped. No error code, no mechanical fault. It ran fine afterwards on a control sample. He looked at the vial. The substance separated. But what it separated into? The fractions don't have names. I'm not talking about gaps in the database. I'm talking about readings the equipment produced and then couldn't display. The screen just held the number and cleared it. Silent. Like it forgot, Kiko said. Like it forgot. And didn't sound fully. She's trying to make more yokai, Kiko said after a moment. Maybe. Something else entirely. He set the glasses back on. She stood by the window. Corporate towers pulsed blackout film. Somewhere out there, Gami was watching, sleeping, tempting again, pressing her hands to the other person's chest, searching for whoever was willing to hold. Desperate enough not to be willing. Like a 3 years, quietly. not accusatory, just the fact. And we never understood what was actually. Kiko kept looking at the towers, the light burning white through the smog. 162 floors of thing not possible. Chapter 1.
Okay.
Good.
Anybody's got any questions? I was going to actually press it. Let me say, if anybody's got any questions, please type them into the chat. We'll be very happy. All right, that sounded great. Hey, one thing I wanted to ask, like this, so this is considered, this is like urban fantasy modern, like modern setting, or is it in the future?
In the future, yeah,
Okay,
2247.
okay. Yeah, like I enjoyed it. I liked the way it was written, frankly. Like the thing that stood out for me, like you, for example, you mentioned like the window was da 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 da, da, and then like the person flies through the window. Like it's yeah, I enjoyed it. It was easy to follow along. Um, what inspired you to write this?
Actually, it was an image prompt. It I wasn't looking for anything specific, not even necessarily anything Japanese, but I just happened to come across this artist's rendition of a yokai, and it just fell into place.
Okay, so basically that which the MC will be, I guess, hunting throughout the story is
Correct.
was okay. So what what can you say about like the world or the environment that like stands out that will like heavily impact your story going forward? Like what stands out for you?
So you'll get a little bit more of that in the chapters to come. It gets a touch more atmospheric. Um, I don't want to give too much away because I want everyone to read it. Uh, but I looked at this from a cyberpunk perspective, and I kind of consider it like a darker cyberpunk. I don't want to say horror because that's not really the right word, but a dark cyberpunk.
Would like if Cyberpunk had grimdark type of thing?
Not quite that dark. Maybe the best way to frame it would be like a dark fantasy. I mean, it's not really a dark fantasy, but it's definitely not grim dark. I didn't take it that far.
Oh, okay. Like I know personally for my own stuff, I like using Grim Bright because it's like Grimdark's got so many different interpretations. Like you got the people that like kind of use it to mean like yeah, realistic, gritty fantasy, and then you got the people that kind of think take it to mean like reveling in like the nihilism. So like
Right.
it's right. So I like Grim Bright because like in my mind it takes like the grittiness and the fact that like yeah, bad things will happen, but there is also hope and like it's kind of like I guess the neutral. But it did yeah, I did feel that vibe. Um, Elmir says it makes him think of Shadowrun with its combination of dystopian cyberpunk and fantasy elements, as
Yeah, there
Bunny
we
said.
go. There we go. Shadowrun is actually a very good way to put it.
Base
I
any
wasn't
characters? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
No, did you base any of the characters on people you know? Like, what inspired some of the characters that come to mind right now?
I didn't actually. So originally, Kiko was going to be a silent protagonist, but I really couldn't find a way to execute it properly and keep it interesting. Shin essentially became a talking head for Kiko, and I just didn't like the way that that felt. Um, so I scrapped that idea, and I had her talk a little bit more. She's still kind of quiet. She's more on the quiet side, I would say. But she's not completely silent like she used to be, which I think is a good change going forward. But based off of anyone, no. All original characters. The only, I guess, character that was based off of someone would be the yokai Kagame herself, because that was the image prompt that started everything.
I have seen silent protagonists work, but like that would be limited to like non-human ones. Like
True.
a story comes to mind where somebody uses a teddy bear, and actually, I think the best thing about that story is the way the teddy bear is described, and like you could
Yeah,
like.
and you actually recommended that to me, and I read it,
Oh,
and it is
I
extremely
have
good.
to be honest, I've read only a few chapters of it because I did a review with that one, but it has etched its way into my brain for that purpose. For like, wow, I haven't seen that before. A silent protagonist, and
Yep,
it works. So
it
yeah,
works.
but like with humans, I agree. Like I have a character that's just a little introverted and like like in shock to start the story, and like I get so many questions like, oh, you don't really get the sense of like this person's emotional state. So like yeah, a silent protagonist that's human, like just forget it. Like look, you'll never hear the end of it. If anybody else got keep the questions coming. Anybody else have a question? But yeah, like well written. Really enjoyed Soulfire's like reading of it. Um, like it was just mad chill. Like what did you think, Soulfire?
Good. Having to read some words. Luckily, I spent time in Japan and I understood what some of the words were and could say them, hopefully, how you wrote them.
Yeah, no,
And
you
then
done
some
great.
words I looked at and goes, I've got no idea, and just took a crack at it.
No, you done great.
But yeah, it's quite easy to read. You can really sort of see the sort of dystopian Neo Tokyo kind of look about things, that visceral feel of blood and kind of the emotions of Kiko through Suka and what was going on, having to deal, I guess, with the death and traumatic event of effectively a child. It kind of felt a little bit like maybe Kiko knew Asuka.
Yeah, and I think in chapter 2 and 3, you'll get a little bit more backstory on that as well. There wasn't a personal attachment there, but there was an attachment there due to her being so young.
Uh, Big impact on her.
Which would you say is a favorite chapter of yours, or do you have like a section in the story that maybe you looked forward to writing or that you built up towards?
Uh, s- I'm currently working on it. It's chapter 6.
Okay.
I've been looking forward to this chapter a lot, and it goes, at least in my opinion, I got a very nice transition into chapter 7, which will probably be my second favorite chapter once 6 is written.
All right, that's great. That's outstanding. Like I've had similar experiences too. Like and it's kind of a challenge actually because when you think of something really really cool, but it's like many chapters down the line, like it's like sometimes it's hard to keep. I can't just jump to the next chapter that's like really really cool and write it, and then like I have to build towards it, you know. So it takes discipline to be able to do it. Um, the bunny wants to know where your accent is from. That's curious. Nice.
Straight. Straight
Wait,
out of Mississippi.
I'm trying to think. Is Kevin from Mississippi? If Kevin H is from like he's either from Mississippi or he's next door. Oh yeah, he is. So yeah, we have two gems from Mississippi. That's wild. That's just wild. You
Yeah,
can
we're
throw rocks at each
essentially yeah, we were essentially neighbors. We were talking a little bit the other day in general, and yeah, we're right down the road from each other pretty much. We live in the same town basically.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome. Like, yeah, I got yeah. There's people near me, but like nobody that is like really active is near me. As a matter of fact, the hermit's near me. Hunter Kyle, used to be active, but he kind of pops in once in a while. He's like very close to me.
Funny
He said
team.
bunny's near him. I guess you're on the same continent.
He's nearer to me. By American standards, me and Nuts, or Copper or Princess, what the hell else to call him now? I'm gonna call him Bean Man. Um, by American standards, we're next to each other because I think he's like a couple of hours drive away.
Has where you lived influenced your story at all?
Actually a little bit. Mississippi in general is a very poor state. and Jackson, the capital, is actually one of the poorest cities in the state. So there's a big crime rate here, and there's a lot of poverty. And I wanted to show at least, I mean, I didn't want to go into full blown detail, but I wanted to put a kernel of that into the last yokai. I wanted to visit those places that were impoverished. And you'll see some of that later on down the line. You don't really see it out of the gate at chapter 1, but you'll get some more of that as the story progresses.
All right.
That's a good
Well,
question. Yeah.
I
Any
mean,
time
like,
now, I can ask
oh,
a question.
no, sure, go ahead.
I just read the first chapter, and it seems obviously very technological. So I'm gonna say a lightsaber, energy sword, flying cars, immortal, elite, and technology. But then also see yokai as well, which would be working off Japanese mythology of demons.
Yep.
Is this magitech or just really high technology to the point that it basically is just magic?
So I would say it's so high tech that it's essentially indistinguishable from magic. Um, Kagame herself, not so much. She is an actual yokai, like from mythology. Um, More of her backstory will get planted later on, but she's just over 8 centuries old. So she would have seen Sengoku Jedi, for example. She would have lived through some of the worst history of Japan. Well, bloodiest. Let me rephrase that. Some of the bloodiest history of Japan.
Yeah.
Ramen still exists.
Yeah. You mentioned ramen and ramen shops multiple times.
Well, I think ramen's gonna be here like thousands of years from now when everybody's like gone extinct. There'll still be ramen. All right. Well, thank you for the story. It
Yeah,
was it was a
absolutely.
nice story. It was Bunny's gonna have another question.
Okay.
It was a great read. The bunny does have another question, so we'll get to that. We should like basically like hijack the bunny every time we have a Gemcast because like whenever she's around, no, there's a bunch of good questions. Otherwise, it's kind of like pulling teeth sometimes. But yeah, she asks really good questions. What are your stylistic and literary influences for this story?
Uh, I would say in general, uh, I hate to compare myself to him because we are leagues away from one another. He is a much better writer than I am.
No, but
But
still, who's your influence though? Yeah.
but yeah, but still, it's Mark Lawrence.
Okay. Oh, dude, that's like, in my opinion, the best opening lines in fiction.
Yes,
So many
I
bangers.
totally agree.
Yeah, so
Totally
many
agree.
bangers. It's outstanding. Yeah, I haven't actually read a full book of his. I have to get around to doing it, but like I've read a bunch of his openers once I saw that, and like yeah, they're outstanding. Like it
I'm
really like
current
The Girl and the Stars. Like I that one like opens awesome.
I'm currently in Red Sister right now, and that's been fantastic.
Yeah, that one opens great too.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just great. Yeah, okay, I can see that. And then you definitely get like the dark influence there too. But okay. Well, if there are no questions, as I watch to see if the bunny starts typing. Oh, so yeah, yeah, thanks for the story and thanks for the read so far. It was very enjoyable. So where can they find your story? Do you have it on Royal Road or just Substack or?
Just Substack. Yep, and I can post that, and for those of you who don't know and who would like to follow along, I can post that in the Substack chat or the self promo, whichever you think is best, Aiden.
Well, the self. Okay, as it relates to that comment from the general is fine, but it's kind of like it's like once people start doing it, it kind of gains momentum, and then it's like fills the chat. So self promo is better. You
Okay.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, it doesn't mean you
Yeah.
can't ever put a link in general, but we just kind of like pay attention to like how much of it is going on at any given time, because otherwise, like if you don't watch it, yeah. Oh, and actually, Nuts brings up a good point too. It will also get lost in general in 3 seconds if it's moving. So that's why us as a community, we're pretty used to looking in self promo. We actually utilize our auxiliary chats pretty well. So like if people who are into the pets, for example, like they routinely check the pets channel. So like yeah, people who are looking for something to read, like they will check self promo. So I think that would be the best.
Okay. Yeah, no worries at all. Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, I'll post it in self promo. That way you guys can follow along. New episodes every Sunday. At least I aim for every Sunday. Sometimes I give it a little bit early depending on what my Sunday looks like.
Okay.
Nice.
So that
Would I consider moving it to Royal Road? I'm actually in the process of moving away from Royal Roads, unfortunately, and going over to Substack completely.
okay.
I'm sorry.
I mean, like I don't like really blame you as far as for what I write. It's Substack's a better audience. Although your story, I think, would do well either place. Like kind of like because of the Japanese influence and like like I think you would do well either place. But anyways, thanks for the story. That concludes our Gemcast. Please do drop the link in the self promo. This reading will be up on YouTube. I don't know when exactly because we're still waiting for the other one. But that concludes this episode, and I hope you'll check out our next Gemcast.